What is up, everyone? So, for today's video, I want to prioritize and kind of talk about saving money, right? Because from a young age, we're always told save your money, invest your money, and we know we're supposed to do that. However, you know, sometimes it's a little hard to understand how to do that or kind of what to prioritize or how long it's going to take or how much you should save. So I kind of want to wrap all those questions into one here, and I want to talk about how I saved my first $10,000 while I was also still able to have fun during that time period. So, saving money doesn't have to mean giving up your entire social life. You can enjoy yourself while you're saving money on a consistent basis. And I want to talk about specifically how I did that. And this was probably back when I was in college is when I saved my first $10,000. I was also prioritizing paying for school out of pocket as well as paying off any student loans that I had. So I still reached that $10,000 mark during college. I probably could have had more if I didn't pay for school while I was in school. But then again, I would have had to pay those loans off anyway. So six in one, half dozen in the other. But either way, I want to talk specifically about how I got to that $10,000 mark. So the first thing that I did was get an understanding of my income and my expenses. And while this can seem overwhelming for people who have never done it before, and I do remember when I first started doing this, kind of not knowing where to start, right? It seems simple for me to say now, like track your income and track your expenses. But when you're first starting to do this or learning how to do this, it can seem kind of overwhelming and you don't know where to start. So the first thing you need to do is understand how much money is coming in. So if you have one job or two jobs or three jobs or however many jobs, look through your bank statement, see how much money came in last month over a 30-day period, and then write it all down and add it up. And that's how much money you make on a monthly basis. That's your income. Now, I know a lot of people work jobs that your pay may vary, or you work on tips. So it's your job to track that and understand how much money is actually coming in. And the best way to do that is every time you get paid, whether it's weekly or if you make cash tips, every night, write it all down. Just track it all for a month and it'll give you an idea of how much money you're making. So once you understand how much money you're making, you then need to understand how much money you're spending. So the first sort of category of expenses is your required expenses, right? So that includes like rent, utilities, your phone bill, internet, basic food expenses, like all the stuff you need to, you know, survive and function in society. Car payment, car insurance, all that kind of stuff. So once you have all that written down, you'll understand what your minimum monthly payments are, and whatever's left over is your discretionary income. So you've taken care of all your bills as well as your minimum monthly payments on debt and stuff like that, and you have X amount of dollars left over. You then need to budget that money and say, okay, here's what I have left over. Here's how much I want to save of that money that's left over. And then you need to set a realistic savings target. For the sake of this video, we'll say it's $10,000. You need to prioritize saving each month for a certain amount of months in order to reach that target of $10,000. So let's say over the course of a year, we want to save $10,000. That means every month you need to save $833. So then the question becomes sort of what are the details? How do we save that much money? What if I don't have that much discretionary income? Well, you have a couple options. You can make more money or you can spend less money. So you may need to pick up another job or pick up extra shifts or ask for a raise. So those are a few ways to make more money. You can also cut back on expenses. So that could mean getting a roommate, getting a cheaper car or cheaper insurance, or spending less on groceries, start shopping at cheaper grocery stores. There's plenty of different options that you can use to increase your income as well as lower your expenses. But the important thing is to have income every month that's available for you to save, and then save that specific amount. So if you can save $833 every month, by the end of the year, you'll have 10 grand. And that's basically what I did when I was in college. I didn't have it set to a T where I was saving $833, but my expenses were really low during college. I lived at home. Really, my only expenses were school related. My parents were fantastic. They didn't charge me rent. They even provided me with food. Like, I really didn't have that many bills. So, aside from paying for school, I was really just saving everything. I mean, I would spend some money going out, hanging out with friends, stuff like that, but most of my money was being saved or invested. And that's how I was able to save my first $10,000. Now, I know not everyone's situation is going to be like that, where they are lucky enough to live at home. They don't have to pay rent. They don't have to pay for food. Like, I was lucky enough to have that opportunity and I took advantage of it. But that's why I'm saying this plan that I mentioned earlier, where if you can just save $833 per month, you'll have 10 grand at the end of the year. Now, I know that is a lot of money per month to sort of free up, especially if you feel like you don't have that much money free every month, or if you feel like you're spending more than you're making. But I think you can evaluate your situation, see how much money you're making, see how much money you're spending, and you can really cut back on expenses, especially like discretionary spending, going out, eating out, drinking on the weekends, like all that kind of stuff. That's definitely not helping your case. So, really, just track your expenses for a month as well as your income, see where you're at overall, see where you can improve, and then prioritize saving every single month. Honestly, every paycheck, even if you get paid every 2 weeks, set aside like $420 every single paycheck. Just set it aside into a savings account right away. And then whatever you have left over is what you can use for your expenses. If you learn to pay yourself first, and what I mean by that is as soon as you get paid, transfer money into savings before you pay any bills or anything like that, you will reach your goal. And if at the end of the month you don't have enough money to take care of your bills, then you need to cut back on your bills or you need to make more money. But if you pay yourself first and set money aside into your savings as soon as you get paid, you will reach that $10,000 goal by the end of the year. A couple tips for you if you're kind of struggling with this throughout the process. Try finding free and cheap entertainment. Like, go for walks, go for hikes, find events and stuff in your area that are free. Just find free things to do. Go for a bike ride, exercise outside, go fishing, whatever you want to do. Just find ways to entertain yourself, with whether you're by yourself or with friends or with your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Find ways to entertain yourself for free. This is going to help you cut back on expenses every month. And also just try and think about the long-term goals, right? Like, why do you want to save money? Are you saving up for a car? Or are you saving up just to have an emergency fund so that if something bad happens, you have money to lean on at the absolute worst case scenario if you need it? Whatever keeps you motivated, whatever you're working towards, just keep that in your mind as you're saving every month, and I think that'll help motivate you and keep you on track. I know that helped me. It was always just about having a nice big emergency fund for myself, knowing that if anything bad happened and I absolutely needed the money, it's available for me. Now I've achieved that and I'm working towards more goals, but that goal is what motivated me to keep saving, cut back on my expenses, don't overspend on things that I don't need. Thinking long term really motivated me and kept me grounded during that period, and I think it will work for you too. But yeah, that's kind of my overall story of how I saved my first 10 grand. I just kind of prioritized saving. I would pay myself first. I didn't really have a lot of expenses. I was very lucky in that aspect, but I also took advantage of it and made the most of it. So I do give myself some credit there. But yeah, I just wanted to talk to you guys about that. I think the $10,000 mark is that like first step towards achieving financial freedom. The next step is 100,000 and then a million. So in order to get to 100,000, you got to get to 10,000. So definitely prioritize this. Try and make it a goal for yourself over the next 12 months. Just start saving money every month. Put it aside in a high yield savings account. It's fantastic to have this money aside for purchasing something that you may need in the future or just having an emergency fund. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. If you are new here, I post content on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, as well as on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I post about personal finance, life experiences, investing, budgeting, all this different kind of stuff that I just like to talk about. So if you do like this kind of content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.